So, I mean, just to get started, I mean, obviously, playing in Providence Park, Portland is back, up at the top of the table again. We've got a really competitive NWSL season going. But first, I just wanted to open with what it's been like for you to actually play in Providence Park. The fans are back in the stadium, scored an absolute amazing goal this past weekend. Like, what has that experience been to actually have fans back in the building?
Yeah, I mean it's surreal. I think this is what I've been waiting for since I got to Portland. Obviously, my first year was different and we didn't have fans. I was dealing with the injury. So to finally, be able to play with a full stadium, and being able to just like interact with the fans and feel them, their presence, it's surreal and it's a dream come true.
Yeah, just, I've spent a number of games at Providence Park myself, both on the field, working games in the press box, but just in terms of the sheer volume, the constant chanting, it gets a little rowdy. There are definitely some curse words being tossed around in that stadium if a call maybe goes the wrong way. But what is it like to have that kind of wall of sound behind you in a game?
It's different for sure. It's definitely something that I've never experienced until I got here because it's not just when someone scores a goal or when someone does something well. It's constant throughout the whole entire game, and I think it just gives the team so much energy, so much momentum. The whole 90 or even plus minutes that we're out there. So it's their energy is contagious, and it only helps us and keeps us going.
Right. All right. So again, really competitive NWSL season so far. Again, a very different experience than last year between Challenge Cup and Fall Series. So, we got the return of the Challenge Cup. Portland obviously coming through on that one pretty well. But then what has the regular season been like so far for you? Like what are your thoughts on the team's performance so far through the regular season?
Yeah, I think people always talk about the NWSL as kind of a crazy league, and you never really know, what's going to happen each game because every team is just so competitive, and it's just a competitive environment. So I think, the Thorns so far, we've grown a lot. I think we started in a good place coming off the Challenge Cup win, but I think every game we learn something about ourselves and we find things, that we can fine tune and work on and get better at. And I think that's great. I think we know that we can never stop getting better, and we can be happy with where we're at if we're winning games, but we're never satisfied, and we always want to grow. And having this long season, I think, is awesome because we get the opportunity to do that. But I'm really proud of my team, and I think that we've come so far already, and I'm excited to see just where we go.
In terms of the teams that you've faced so far, obviously going both home and away, but what is a team like Orlando coming in? There are very specific challenges to Orlando coming in. A player like Taylor Korniak, obviously, but a goalkeeper like Ashlyn Harris coming into that stadium. But where are the lessons that you can take away from playing teams that are really challenging for top spots on the table right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've learned something in every single game I've played, against every team that we've played. I think against Orlando, they came out very physical in that game. And so I think just being aware of that and being prepared for that, and matching that energy and intensity. But I just think, I don't know, I think the biggest thing I've learned since being in the league is that, being a professional soccer player is so much more than what you do on the field. It's a lifestyle, and it's what you do off the field each and every day to prepare and to be in the best shape, to be in the best shape physically and mentally and psychologically. It's all of those things, and I think for me that's the biggest thing that I've learned since making the jump from college to the professional life.
Right. Okay. So we're looking at now. We've got the nice little drama of players missing for the Olympics. I got a couple of weeks of NWSL action coming up. And then in August, obviously Women's International Champions Cup, start off the tournament against Houston Dash, and then facing either Barcelona or Lyon, depending on this. But what are you hoping for in terms of getting your first look at another international club team?
I'm excited. It's definitely, a different challenge to play international teams, because we're so used to playing, the same NWSL teams time and time again. So I think it will just be a good challenge for us, and it kind of breaks up the season a little bit, and is kind of just a chance for us to try something new and at the same time be exactly who we are and do everything that we've been doing. But yeah, I'm excited. It'll definitely be different, which I think is awesome. And it's always a way for us to grow and just, have a new challenge.
Did you watch a lot of, Champions League or European soccer? We're now actually able to watch some of this on a more regular basis, but did you tune in for any of those games?
I did, yes.
Yeah. What did you think of Barcelona's run for Champions League?
I mean, they're awesome. It's a fun team to watch for sure.
Yeah. All right. So just one other big question for you, and this is kind of a really interesting approach. And, obviously Portland's done a lot of really interesting stuff over the years. I think about not just on the soccer side, but, on the marketing side, they've brought in TikTok as a sponsor. I know we were all really looking forward to seeing some of that content, but we're starting to see all of this investment around the game. We're starting to see all of these advances in technology and how they might impact the game. And we've got a pretty good gap here in age. So I'm looking at it from maybe the other side and seeing how it's come in and it's changed part of the soccer atmosphere of the women's side. But as someone who's coming into the pro side of things, where do you see the role of this investment and technology, especially playing this kind of role in the growth of women's soccer?
I think it's absolutely huge. I mean, I know I'm young, but even myself growing up, it wasn't the easiest thing to find, women's soccer, let alone women's sports on TV, or even on social media platforms. There wasn't a lot of people talking about women's sports. So I think, the growth that we can continue to have is huge. The growth that we've already had is huge, but it's nowhere near where I think that we could be or should be, and the coverage of women's sports deserves. But it's absolutely huge and so important for generations to come to be able to have access to, their role models or people that they want to aspire to be like, or, I just think I don't know, I don't remember the quote, if you can see it, you can be it, something like that, but it's so true. And it's, for me, it was the case. And I just want the same thing for generations to come, to be able to, see their role models and continue, the path.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously as someone who is working in the coverage part of it, right? Like storytelling and being able to find all of these new ways to actually connect with both, existing fans, but also new fans. Obviously, we've got the Olympics coming up. There's going to be a lot of eyeballs on the sport. And I think about all the different ways we're going to be watching the Olympics between, I mean, the time zone is probably even worse for you than it is for us here on the East Coast. Has there been a decision from the team of like, if the players are allowed to stay awake in the middle of the night to actually watch these games?
It's probably a personal decision. If that's, something that, players want to do. I think the game is at like 1:30 a.m. tonight or tomorrow. So yeah, I think it's a personal decision, but obviously we want to support, the team and our teammates that are there, and it's an exciting time for sure.
Yeah, no, actually, one other technology element to this too is, I don't know, like I'm currently wearing like my sleep tracker, right? Like, is that something that the team, oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
How much do you pay attention to stuff like that? Like, is that something that you and the team monitor at the same time?
So our team actually got Whoop bands, probably, I want to say like a few months ago.
Got it.
And before that, I think, I have an Apple Watch too. I use my Apple Watch.
Also, you and I were matching right now.
It's a lot. I wouldn't say I pay a lot of attention to it. It's not really something that, I make decisions based off of. Mm-hmm. It is interesting to have that information and to use it in some ways, you know, as much as you want to. But there's definitely, you know, people on the team that take it into, you know, more consideration than others.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't go on a like giant bike ride today. But you know, generally, yeah. All right, Sophia, just one last one, but you know, is there any game coming up over the next couple of weeks before women's ICC tournament, maybe right after, that you've got kind of circled on the calendar and you're like, oh yeah, this is the one? You know, maybe it's another look at OL Reign. You've got a big game coming up that actually is a doubleheader with the Sounders. I feel like a lot of us are kind of looking at that one going, all right, that one's going to be a good one. Yeah, no,
every game against the Reign is fun, and I think having the doubleheader with the men is going to be super exciting and just a fun environment. Honestly, I'm excited for all our games coming up. I am excited to play Washington Spirit. We haven't, you know, seen them yet, so I think that will be a new challenge. But you know, obviously Houston this upcoming weekend is always, you know, a good game, the Challenge Cup battle.
Yeah, a little test against your women's ICC opponent too, like a little tune-up, a little preview for the tournament. So
exactly, yeah. No, I'm excited for everything coming up. So
awesome. All right, well, thank you for taking the time to answer some questions. It's been a delight, and we'll see you in August.
Awesome, sounds good. Thank you, Meg.
All right, thank you.